Coming up on 5 Minute News. President Biden announces economic success during Chicago address. Scientists hear the chorus of gravitational waves from black holes. And missile kills 11 in popular Ukrainian pizza parlor. It's Thursday, June 29. I'm Anthony Davis. President Joe Biden revitalized support for his re-election among middle-class voters before a Chicago audience yesterday, branding his efforts at economic growth, job creation, and inflation fighting as Bidenomics. Biden touted economic growth, he says, is driven from the bottom up through government investment, in contrast to tax cuts for the wealthy and the trickle-down philosophy of Reaganomics, launched by Republican Ronald Reagan in the 1980s, which has only enriched the wealthy. Today, the US has the highest economic growth among the world's leading economies since the pandemic, Biden said. We've added over 13 million jobs, more jobs in 2 years than any president has added in a 4-year term, he said. Biden detailed a 15-year high in the number of people in the workforce, an unemployment rate that dropped below 4% years earlier than predicted following the COVID-19 pandemic, increasing wages, and a decrease in the rate of inflation without a major recession. Showing a willingness to engage 16 months before next year's general election in a prospective rematch with his 2020 opponent, Biden sought to draw several economic contrasts with the Republican, though not by name, as Biden referred to Trump only as my predecessor. While the term Bidenomics was first used as a derisive term by the Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal, Biden said he was now embracing it as a reference to a theory of government stimulus. Banners and signs featuring the phrase surrounded Biden as he spoke. The Bidenomics theme, which is expected to be promoted by the President, Vice President Kamala Harris, and other administration officials across the country through July 15, is aimed at proposing laws focused on infrastructure, manufacturing, and clean energy. Scientists have observed for the first time the faint ripples caused by the motion of black holes that are gently stretching and squeezing everything in the universe. They reported yesterday they were able to hear what are called low-frequency gravitational waves, changes in the fabric of the universe that are created by huge objects moving around and colliding in space. It's really the first time that we've had evidence of just this large-scale motion of everything in the universe, said Maura McLaughlin, co-director of NanoGrav, the research collaboration that published the results in the Astrophysical Journal letters. Einstein predicted that when really heavy objects move through space-time, the fabric of our universe, they create ripples that spread through that fabric. Scientists sometimes liken these ripples to the background music of the universe. The results released this week included 15 years of data from NanoGrav, which has been using telescopes across North America to search for the waves. The scientists pointed telescopes at dead stars called pulsars, which send out flashes of radio waves as they spin around in space like lighthouses. By analyzing tiny changes in the ticking rate across different pulsars, with some pulses coming slightly early and others coming late, scientists could tell that gravitational waves were passing through. Ukrainian authorities on Wednesday arrested a man they accused of helping Russia direct a missile strike that killed at least 11 people, including 3 teenagers, at a popular pizza restaurant in eastern Ukraine. The Tuesday evening attack on Kramatorsk wounded 61 other people, Ukrainian's national police said. It was the latest bombardment of a Ukrainian city, a tactic Russia has used heavily in the 16-month-old war. The strike and others across Ukraine late Tuesday and early Wednesday indicated that the Kremlin is not easing its aerial onslaught, despite political and military turmoil at home after a short-lived armed uprising in Russia last weekend. There has been no apparent military push by Ukraine to exploit that turmoil, though the government has been tight-lipped about recent battlefield developments as it seeks to gain momentum in its recently launched counter-offensive. The Kremlin reeled from the weekend mutiny led by General Prigozhin, owner of the Wagner private army of prison recruits and other mercenaries. Wagner has played a key combat role for Russia in Ukraine. The rebellion posed the most serious threat so far to Russian President Vladimir Putin's grip on power. Prigozhin went into exile in neighboring Belarus on Tuesday, according to President Alexander Lukashenko, after Russia said he wouldn't face charges for the result. Prigozhin's whereabouts could not be independently confirmed. US President Joe Biden said on Wednesday that the unrest had weakened Putin, though he added that it's hard to tell to what extent. He's clearly losing the war in Ukraine, Biden said of Putin before departing Washington for Chicago. He's losing the war at home, and he's become a bit of a pariah around the world. Meanwhile, a Russian general, Sergei Surovikin, who previously led the invasion force in Ukraine, has not been seen since Saturday, with US intelligence reportedly claiming he had prior knowledge of the uprising. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.